Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wrestling with the Paranormal. Today's episode is brought to you by Milton Brothers. The game is called Sticks and Stones Will Break Your Bones. The whips and shades excite me. What the fuck is that? Who is it? Hey, welcome everyone to Wrestling with the Paranormal.
The only paranormal show made by wrestling fans for wrestling fans.
Damn straight we are. Turn off our generic rock music because every podcast needs generic rock music. And we have the best from the best no-name band in the whole world. Who are they? I don't know.
No
Do
idea.
you know who they are?
I haven't got a clue. I was hoping you answered that one.
So, if you noticed, the Enlightened one, he was a bit confused about who the other guy in the box was. Do you know that guy's name?
I cannot answer that, unfortunately. I've had strict instructions to say nothing.
Oh, one of those type of relationships. I've had one of those before.
Yeah,
Those
they
are
never end
really-
well.
Yeah. Let's see who we got. We got Rob Gross here today. Hey, Rob Gross, how's it going?
What's happening,
Oh,
Rob?
Rob Grass, not Rob Gross. Sorry, Rob Grass.
We're not
And
used
as
to this.
always, we have the lovely, the
Joseph
kind,
Graham.
the opinionated Joseph Graham.
Dear. How's your week been?
It's great. So we had the Effie Awards the other day. We're going to get into that a little bit. There's something weird that went on in the Effie Awards. We're going to get into it a little later. We also had the AFW draft the other day. That was exciting. They got it done in like 2 hours, I think.
That's a personal best.
Yeah. Of course, this is usually on Fridays. So I hurt my arm running, trying to get healthy and all that stuff. Canada Dry is not the best heel. He's a face, damn it. No, I'm a heel. I won the Heel of the Year award.
But yeah,
I'm a heel.
Absolutely. So you obviously you mentioned there you injured your arm. How is the arm doing?
I've got actually a virtual call with my doctor right after this. So we're gonna see if X-rays and whatnot. I don't think it's broken, but probably sprained or like jammed or whatever. Like a fall really messes with your system there, especially when you got like 240 pounds coming down on the cement with a little bit of speed.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously, it's good to see you're obviously out this thing, and obviously, I wish you nothing but the best on the mend.
Hey, look who's here!
Mega Boo!
It's her name is Heaven. What's her Heaven Reninger?
I said Renninger.
Reninger. But in AFW Prediction League, she is known as Mega Moo, and Mega Moo is one of the biggest rising stars in all of prediction leagues. And who would have thought we would have had a wrestler called Mega Moo?
I think that name just says it all, doesn't it?
Would this get over on TV? Do you think that a character named Mega Moo could get over?
Yes, but it depends on which show. I don't see it being in WWE. Possibly MLW, just as a random guess.
Well, if you put it with Best Friends, maybe with like, couldn't be winning any title.
Trent Brenner, Chuck Taylor, and Megamoo, the best friend.
Replaces Orange Cassidy when he goes heel. Very orange, very evil.
Oh dear. But yeah, this is obviously. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
So obviously we're used to doing this on a Friday, but this is Monday, so I'm trying to get used to this.
Yeah. But you know what I always say? When it's not the right day, this is what I say. Oh, that's not what I say. Do you know what? This is what I say.
What the Rock is cooking.
Oh, it's on loop. Oh man. So let's get right in. Let's see what some people are saying about this. I can make it on TV. I'm going to get all the titles. I don't know if they push you. I don't know if they push a cow to be world champion.
Oh, dude, that's a great comment.
I don't know if they push it. Like, that's a quotable for like Dave Meltzer. I don't know if they'd push a cow to be world champion.
Oh dear, that just screams wrestling news.
Yeah, wrestling news. All right, let's get into where is it? I'm just looking for. I didn't name it, so here we go.
Around the effing galaxy.
Around the effing galaxy. Now, this is the part of the show where we talk a little bit about what's going on in effing wrestling and what's going on in wrestling altogether.
Well, so we've got some amazing topics to talk about. So, of course, we've got to start with the face of effing wrestling, Natalia Markova, and there could be a feud. Sorry.
Now she had a Queen Bee match, her second one. She was the defending Queen Bee, and she got to the finals. Well, let's just show the clip.
Markova is tough.
So is Max the Impaler.
Oh,
wow.
she is.
Launching Markova face first into the middle turnbuckle. Fighting out. Oh, no. Bad position.
Strength of Max the Impaler.
Oh, she was able to turn it around.
Head scissors by Markova. Into.
Boom.
Beautiful. Destroy. It was caught.
Max the Impaler caught.
What is she? Is she licking her?
She's licking her.
Dear God.
Wow. I really do feel Max has been hanging out with the Sinister Minister and the rest of that crew too much.
I agree.
Markova with a sleeper.
Max the Impaler trying to fight it off.
Sleeper, Max.
It just made Max mad that she was able to kick
Terrell on the outside.
Yeah, Taryn Terrell just yelling, stop it, cheering Markova on. Very concerned for Markova right now, as we all are.
Wait a minute.
So the ref rang the bell, and Markova kept her crown, but Max the Impaler grabbed the crown and destroyed it.
How could you do such thing?
So now Natalia Markova doesn't have the crown anymore. So we're going to see where that goes. Possibly we'll get some sort of upcoming match. Joseph says the licking is disgusting.
The only time I'm watching that, I'll win. Ugh.
And Megamoo says, I will make them push me. Push you off a cliff.
Hey, did I actually mention I bought something from our good friend Markova?
What did you get?
So, obviously, she put on Twitter that she was selling some signed photos and little bits of stuff like that. So, of course, I reached out to the Markova. Really nice person. Never spoke to her before. I've ordered a 8x10, a thing called a kiss card, and something else. But I'm going to open
Kiss
it.
card?
It's called a kiss card. I'm not quite sure it is, but
Like
you know
a
what?
playing card for her.
Who knows? But what I'm going to do is, when that thing arrives, I will open it live on this show.
Yes, that's a good idea. Noob says the match ended in a DQ. Oh no, a wrestling crown gets stolen and destroyed. I am shocked. But that's old school wrestling, right? Like they still get that old school feel.
Absolutely. So
I'm going to drink a little bit of the Tony Schiavone right now.
How many you had today?
This is my first.
Come on, Tony's always on his third.
Well, I try to have one or two max. I don't go over that. And I realized I didn't buy any coffee, so I'm probably going to save my other one for the morning because I don't want to go out and buy any coffee, but we'll see.
Absolutely. So should we
you
go
have that morning coffee, and you like your name brand tea?
Yeah, name branded. I'm actually going to get a picture of that and prove it.
Right. What else we got?
So Trish Stratus has had an operation involving her appendix. So I would have been surprised with this. I wasn't expecting it. What do you think?
Well, she wasn't expecting either. I guess she was in her car, and she was starting to feel some irregular pains in her stomach. And what was really smart is she just like, okay, I guess I'm going to the hospital. She drove herself to the hospital, and so she posted on Instagram to always listen to your body, that something that's irregular, that's not normal, to have it checked out, because you don't know, like a bursting appendix could kill you.
Which is actually really good advice if you think about it.
Yeah, something's not normal, have it checked out. Don't let it just, oh, well, don't worry about it. Like, no, it's not normal. You're not feeling this every day. Have it checked out.
Yep, of course, Trish Stratus, we wish you nothing but the best. He looked pretty well, so...
He is a Canadian legend.
Absolutely. I forgot where we put her on our list. I know she was on it.
She was up there.
Yep, she definitely was. So, but yeah, the great best advice is there.
Well, I don't think we actually did women. We were only Canadian men, I think.
No, we had Trish Stratus on the list.
Oh, they did? We did? Okay.
Off the top of my head, though, I can't remember where we put her, but she was up there. That's all
She was up there. She was up there. She was somewhere on the list.
You just made the list.
Wait. We have to play it?
You know what?
Trish Stratus.
You just made the list. Oh, no.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
You know what? You just made the list. Oh, no.
Oh, here we go.
I gotta remember that it's on loop for rock music.
Oh dear, that's coming so handy. Them sounds.
Yeah, we'll definitely download some more of those. They're pretty fun.
Absolutely.
What do we got next?
So Survivor Series War Games. So I was a little bit surprised with this, but apparently there's going to be War Games at Survivor Series. What do we think?
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be 2 matches that are going to be War Game style matches.
Yes, there's going to be a women's one and a men's one, apparently.
So I think this is a way of saving Survivor Series.
How so?
Well, Survivor Series has been pretty freaking bland the last, 4 or 5 years. Like, it's the least look forward to pay-per-view. Like, yay, 2 teams are going against each other. One from Raw, one from SmackDown. Who's going to get break? Who cares? Maybe we got AEW versus WWE. That would be interesting.
But no, I think you're on point there. I think Survivor Series has gone down in popularity over the past few years. I think you've just hit the nail on the head, spot on, to be honest. But are we excited for War Games, though?
It should be interesting. See where they go, how they do the teams. Could they do the bloodline? Who would go against them? Do you know what? One of my favorite tag team matches of all time is actually these. What is it? Canadian Stampede, where the members of the Hart family went up against Stone Cold's crew.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the best tag team matches of all time, in my opinion. And they had the home team crowd of cheering for the Hearts, and it was just great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've just got a little quote here from this War Games. According to Triple H, he says, "It will not be Raw versus SmackDown. It will be more storyline driven." So it could be the Bloodline, as you mentioned there.
Yeah.
But I'm actually excited for this. I mean, we'll see exactly how it all pans out. Are the fans going to be excited? Who knows?
Well, what other faction could take on the Bloodline, though?
Is there any factions left in WWE? Could it be like a built-up team?
Yeah, you kind of have to go with it. That's what I was referring to, maybe a Stone Cold bunch of people to go against them.
Yeah. But yeah, that will go down in November, so we shall definitely see. As Triple H said there, it's going to be storyline driven, so I think we will see the Bloodline. Who the face remains to be seen.
Just Graham, that's how it should be. Survivor Series used to wreck stories. True. Yeah, you'd be in the middle of something where Jinder Mahal. That's interesting. It'd be something where Jinder Mahal's champion, and well, we're going to take this belt off him because he doesn't match up well against Brock Lesnar. So then you're pretty much burying your champion because you don't like how he matches up against the other champion.
So. Yeah. But like I said, we'll definitely see what happens with that one. So 2 more pieces of news. Now, we spoke about this yesterday on the All If in Wrestling show. Malachi Black. Now, it's all come out that he's taking some time away from wrestling, which kind of made me think a little bit. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a sports person, whether you're a regular person. There's got to be times where you've got to take that step back.
Now, I don't know if you read, but Dave Meltzer is reporting that he wanted to go to WWE.
It's Dave Meltzer. Do we take this with a pinch of salt, or do we see this?
I don't know. Like, Dave Meltzer's not. It's not like he's ringside news, right?
There you go.
Right. It's not like he's that bad. Like,
So do we think this is?
But Malachi Black also said, if it doesn't come from my mouth, it's bullshit. So, but at the same time, you don't want people reporting. He's like a private guy, so I don't know, like, if you can take that with more a grain of salt, right?
Yeah, I think that he does understand there's obviously a lot of questions, but he will answer them in due course. But I think at the moment he's just focusing on himself, which every person's rightly to do.
This is a good one. Bloodline versus Drew, Street Profits, Hayes, and Owens. That's not bad.
I would get behind that, actually. Yeah.
Check out.
Tell Rob being the new booker.
As our friend JFB says, book it.
Book it.
What's our last little piece we got here?
So, of course, this Wednesday on Arthur Stadium, there's going to be a new AEW World Champion crowned. Bryan Danielson or Moxley. Now, I'm just going to say one thing. I am so glad we're not predicting this week.
Yeah. So, like, if you're in another prediction league, maybe you can take our words and use them. So, who do you got winning?
It's a tough one because the person's going to have to face MJF down the line. Do I want to see Moxley versus MJF, or do I want to see Bryan Danielson versus MJF? I'm really torn. I will be honest. I cannot decide on this one.
We got Rob, the Beast Craig, saying it will be Danielson.
Yeah.
From the perspective of beating all the people that beat him, that's where it's going right now. He beat Jericho, who beat him. And he beat, who else did he beat in the first round? Hangman.
Yep.
So that would make sense, beating all the people that beat you to win the championship. That's kind of storybook, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the way I look
Okay,
at it,
what about this? What about this? So MJF is really focused on Mox right now.
yeah,
And he's got that chip that he could cash in whenever he wants. He doesn't need to do it right away.
do we see
So
it being a pay-per-view?
what if he costs Moxley the title on Wednesday and they have a bit of a short run against each other before he actually goes for the title against Bryan Danielson?
It's funny you say that because I think his new faction might intervene in this match. So I want to see Danielson win it now. I actually think about it because I feel like he does deserve it.
Well, he could carry the company on his back, and he's the next guy behind CM Punk, star level wise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, they both came in. Obviously, they moved the needle slightly, but not in drastic, if you know what I mean. But they did move the needle.
Well, you know why? I think it's because people have been ingrained with WWE culture for so long that they're more WWE fans now than they are wrestling fans. I remember when Bret Hart got screwed in the 97 screw job.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon said this in an interview. If there are anything such as Bret Hart fans, I think everyone is WWE fans. Like, even way back then, Vince McMahon was saying there's no such thing as a Bret Hart fan.
Really?
Which is like such a maniacal thing to say, right?
Is that just Vince being really buttered because he went to WCW, or who knows?
Well, probably because he was also had a black eye from getting punched in the face. He's probably still pissed.
Dear. But yeah, that covers our effing wrestling news.
All right. But let's get into something that happened on what day was it? Was it Friday? Thursday, right. It seems like just the other day. All right, guys. Here it is. This is the ghost video. So it happens right at the end, and pay attention to Dallas's box on the screen, not as after we do the awards, we will be inducting our AFW superstars into the AFW Hall of Fame, and that's going to be exciting. So, did you guys catch that? Did you see it?
I did. The thing is, though, how did I not miss it when it was live?
Yeah, I think Dallas caught it because Dallas is funny like that. He wants to review every little minuscule of his movements and see what everyone thinks of him, and he's just really so that's how he caught it. He's just paying attention. He's like, "All right, what did I do here? Oh, I look so stupid!" He's just like so self-conscious. That's how he caught it. Let's get play it again. If you're watching at home, let us know if you can't see it. After we do the awards, we will be inducting our AFW superstars into the AFW Hall of Fame, and that's going to be exciting.
That is really surprising.
So what's the ghost doing in Dallas's house? Is he just doing a photo bomb? Is that what it is? He's like, I'm on a podcast. Look at me. I'm Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Maybe we should ask Dallas on that one.
Well, it's funny because Dallas was having a hard time one time. I don't know if I should be sharing this or whatever. Dallas was having a hard time, and I prayed for him. And I said, well, I pray that angels will be watching over you. And so Dallas texts me back. He goes, they're not going to be watching me change or anything or being all creepy. I'm like, they're angels. They're not. He was concerned about angels watching him be naked. So I was just like, they're angels. They're not like that.
Knowledge is power. Don't look, angels.
Hey, angels, stop looking.
That's
funny. Yeah, so this brings us to story time.
Sweet. So, obviously, we've covered witches, we've covered mysterious water, we've covered the underground. What are we covering today?
Okay, so as you actually, we didn't really. It's in the show title. I didn't put it in my banners, but it's called The Mystery of Granger Taylor. Now, who names their kid Granger? I think you're fucking him up from the beginning, right? Come here, little Granger.
Oh, what you? Who knows? I mean, maybe it's an olden day thing, but this is obviously comes from your neck of the woods, Canada.
Yes, not only Canada, which is a huge place, but it is only 3 hours drive from my home. So it's really close. It's Duncan, BC, Duncan, British Columbia. It's a fishing community and it's been around for quite some time. But let's just get right into the story. So in Duncan, BC, on November 30th, 1980, there was a storm that ravaged the town of Duncan. And there was power lines that were down, and there was just a little bit of it's one of the worst storms in Duncan's history, and it really ravaged the town, and the whole city worked together to get it all running again. But the town folk were looking for one particular guy to help them get it running again, and his name was Granger Taylor, because he was an enigmatic genius. He was like he was just different, and he stood out amongst other people, and so they were looking for him to help them with the different problems that they're having in the town. And so what happened was his stepdad found a note, and no one had seen Granger since the night before. So, like, it's a stormy night. All of a sudden, he leaves a note, and a lot of people thought it was a suicide note. But Granger made sure he wrote that this is not a suicide note. Like, specifically wrote that in there. The letter explained that he was going to be taken away on a 3.5-year mission. And it was a journey that he had to make, and he would return after he had learned all he could. But while his parents left the gates open to his house, and they always left the light on, Granger Taylor never, ever returned. So Granger, let's tell about a backstory about Granger and his pitiful, sad name. How would you feel about being called Granger? Would you be okay with that?
In this day and age, I think it'd be really creepy. Back in the old, like this time, I think any name's probably possible. What about you?
I couldn't be Granger. It's just it reminds me of a dog or something. Give me a Granger.
Yeah.
So Granger was born in Duncan, BC, and this is a small fishing town, like as I said earlier. And he spent his whole life there, from 1948 to 1980. So right from the start, when he was a small child, for toddler ages, I think, his psychological foundation was rocked when his dad died in the local lake. And it really messed with his psychology and the way his brain was developing. And while his mother remarried to Jim Taylor and adopted him, and they had a love like a normal family, and he had brothers and sisters from a previous marriage. Um, Something was wrong, and Granger dropped out of school in eighth grade. Now, I'm wondering, based on what we know about Granger Taylor, if he dropped out because things were too simple for him
Mm-hmm.
and not the other way around. Maybe like he was getting bored of it.
Yep.
So, um, as he was learning, he became a mechanic apprentice really young, and he started restoring old weathered vehicles. He started with cars; it's just junkers, and people were like amazed at his ability to restore vehicles. So I just want to see what someone said. Oh, so she did see it. You did see it, Megamoo. That's good. Um, so um, Granger started to restore old vehicles, and at 14, he constructed a one-cylinder vehicle, a fully functional. Um, he built this car, and it is still in the Duncan Museum to this day.
Wow.
So 3 years later, he constructs a bulldozer from scratch. Like that's some pretty
That's pretty
amazing for a 17-year-old. I could barely even draw a picture at that point. um, so that then the next thing he does that is the most impressive thing uh, as a young 20-year-old, he finds this old abandoned steam train and he salvages it and he rebuilds it, toiling away until it is like absolute brand new. And the province of British Columbia buys it off him. Now, to this point, I don't think he made. I mean, obviously, he's making money off of his cars and stuff like that, but nothing to this point of that value. Like a steam train, a restored steam train. How much is he getting for that? Right?
That's just impressive that he's managed to build the whole steam train.
Yeah. But this is where it starts to kind of go off a bit here. So he starts getting bored of working on the cars and the trains, and he starts getting interested in flight. And he gets his pilot's license,
Mm-hmm.
and he starts restoring old planes. And the one that he really gets a lot of money for is he fully restores a World War II Kitty Hawk fighter, and he restores it to full working order, and he sells it for $20,000. And so, with all these projects that he's got going on, um, he's able to get like a pretty big bank account, and he's not interested in any of the women in the community. Like I think you could start a nice little family up with that, right? Move away,
Yep.
but he's not interested in even having his own place.
He's just in his own little zone.
Yeah, he's just happy living with his parents, and he 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 starts getting obsessed with UFOs. Now, maybe it's because there had been some UFOs in the area that have been seen. In 1969, on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, 3 nurses and a bunch of patients they saw a UFO shaped like the planet of Saturn at the Duncan Hospital. They saw about 60 feet away from their window. They saw this object, and there's a few other sightings that were were seen in the area. And so he starts getting really fixated on this, and it becomes his new ambition to create a UFO. Now, when I say this, I don't mean like just like look like a UFO. He wants to actually be able to fly a UFO and be like them, where they can go like quickly, like with their unique propulsion system.
Speed of
Uh,
light.
yeah. But he finds that the enigma of creating this propulsion system is too much of a task for him, and he starts collecting books and just all sorts of literature. But the problem with all this literature is they're all pseudoscience and theory, and a lot of it kind of um, cancels out each other. So it's tough when like one person says one thing and another thing, like that they don't go together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he builds this UFO in his garden, and it's built out of satellite space debris. And he puts a couch in there, he puts a TV in there, and he begins to kind of live in there a lot of the time.
I do believe there's also an image on Google for that, isn't there?
I didn't download it, but but he also had a wood burning stove in there. It's like what kind of UFO has a wood burning stove? He's like, well, it gets cold.
Oh dear.
But he spent lots of time in there reading and studying and just trying to figure it out. So he had a friend named Bob Nelson that he'd spent a lot of time with, and he whenever he went out with his friends, he would tell them all about his UFO theories. But Bob Nelson was his closer friend. Where you have friends that you can tell them stuff. Like I had this dream last night that a hamburger was eating me, and but so he told Bob Nelson that aliens had contacted him. And so Bob Nelson says, well, how did they contact you? And he's like, well, I didn't actually see them. They communicated to me telepathically. And they were voices in his head. And so with that, I'm going to make the tag.
Thank you very much. I have the tag.
You made the tag!
Sweet! I got it.
Kick his ass!
So I'm going to fast forward to October 1980. Now, of course, as we mentioned there, Nelson was obviously his close friend. Now, Granger announced to Nelson that he'd been invited to a trip through galaxy. Now, obviously, Nelson, being the guy, is very skeptical because, yeah, everybody's skeptical, all this type of stuff. But then, 1 month later, the town of Duncan would suffer a very severe storm warning, which I think we spoke about this, in the intro slightly.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m., Granger would enter Bob's Grill, which is, of course, was his regular diner. It's where he used to, go and eat. Everybody has their own favourite diner. I'm sure you have your own favourite diner as well. I know I do. But
what's your favorite diner?
It is local KFC.
That doesn't count.
Now, there's
side note, you don't really get too many kind of old school diners anymore.
No, they're not in the UK anyway. Do you get them in Canada?
Not really. Like we had one that was like a block or two from our house that, you could just go there and eat a burger and fries and just chill out and have a Coke, and it didn't cost you. It only cost you like $12 for all that. So like now it's just like it's gone.
Yeah, they're not seen to be a common thing. So, Linda Barron, who's obviously a waiter there, noted that obviously Granger obviously had his regular attire, which was a t-shirt, his log boots, but he didn't have a waterproof jacket or anything, which she thought was very, very odd based on obviously, the weather. Now, he obviously entered the thing at 6 p.m. 30 minutes later, as the storm just began to tear up, he got into his truck, drove into the night, and never returned. So it's like, this is just the creepy thing ever. Like, he just got up and just went.
But here's the thing. He had a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. He had loads of money, but he just vanished out of thin air.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can create a new life. And if you're eccentric, who's going to find you?
There you go. So, actually, it's funny you said that.
And then we solved it.
End of story.
End of story. He's got loads of money. He can hide.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of theories on this, which we'll obviously get into later on. Now, obviously, the next day, as always, a long, drawn-out search. The authorities absolutely did not find anything. No signs of him. It's like he just vanished off the face of the earth. Now, you mentioned earlier about the note which he left.
Yeah.
You're looking a world of your own. Are you all right?
Sorry, I was just reading something from JFB. He sent me a message.
Now, obviously, you mentioned the note earlier. So, obviously, I've got the note here, and I quote, the note said, "Dear Mother and Father, I have gone away to walk aboard an alien ship. As recurring dreams assured, a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe and return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you as I am no longer required to use the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger." That's exactly what the note said. Now, when
Okay,
I read that,
is he surrendering his money too?
it just says, "I'm leaving behind all my possessions." So I would presume that.
So yeah, there's the money then.
Which was kind of creepy. I mean, the issue is with this.
Now you understand why it's seen as a will or a suicide note.
Yeah, absolutely. But apparently, according
one
to this,
of the things that people do when they're about to commit suicide is they start to give away some of their better known objects.
Yep.
So if you start getting gifts from people and you know it's been in their collection for a while, start to worry about them.
Yep, absolutely. So, and according to this, he made the effort to replace the word deceased with departed. So, a lot of the theories with this was obviously suicide note, but based on that note, it doesn't scream suicide note, if you know what I mean. It seems a bit too honest. If a suicide note's pretty more, I'm trying to think of the words to actually use it. It's a bit more direct. Is that the word?
Yeah, so you're saying that he would just come out and say it if he was going to kill himself.
Yeah, absolutely. But he also thanked his stepfather, Jim, for everything. But there was no mention of extraterrestrial or leaving. So the issue is he's not mentioned it to his family. He's only mentioned it to his best friend.
Well, he said he's going somewhere on a journey. He doesn't say where, right?
No, exactly. And it's too vague, in my opinion.
Now, heaven would be a journey.
There you go.
But you're not coming back.
No, absolutely.
Not in 3 years, anyways.
Now, the only information which was ever based on this was only newspaper clippings. Good evening, Mr. Isaacs. Welcome to the show.
I love Mr. Isaacs. I'm always blessed by his presence here on the channel.
He's a great guy, and he's really, really helpful.
He's becoming a regular on After Dark as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, obviously, he's disappeared. There's no signs of him whatsoever. So, we're going to fast forward now to 1986. Go. That kind of work. Now, this is obviously 6 years after he obviously disappeared. Remains of clothing, bone fragments, and shards of truck were found on a crater near an unnamed mountain site. Now, Obviously, this is really creepy. But unfortunately, with the DNA technology they had in them days, it was never proven that these actually belong to Granger Taylor.
So they found a dead body, or what was it they found?
Bone fragments, so just bits of bone.
Okay.
But because of the technology back in these days, there was
So
never.
I wonder if they could still like figure it out.
Would the bone fragments be too far gone though these days?
Yeah. It was probably. Well, they were able to freaking do technology on the Shroud of Turin, so.
Absolutely. So apparently, our good friend Granger Taylor used to carry dynamite in his truck. Now, this is a plausible explanation. Now, he used to use this for tree stumps. I mean, I can't think of it worse.
Bree is really upset.
Oh, what's up, Bree?
Disgusted with how upset she is. Now we had a question that you didn't answer on the All F and Wrestling show the other day.
I was hoping you forgot.
So, are you a butt man or are you a boob man?
Well, Dollywood
Come on,
won.
honesty here. This is a truthful show.
So Dollywood wins. So I'll let you use your noggin on that.
Oh, sorry, Bree, you lost.
Oh dear. Now, apparently, the metal shards were found, which were apparently pink. Now, these were a bit inconclusive because Granger Taylor's car was blue. But the explanation was whether an erosion could this cause the color, to like.
Can you read that out, please?
Butt boy, told you.
The butt boy.
Oh dear. And apparently the body parts were eaten by animals. But the thing is about these fragments and stuff, they were never actually 100% proven these belong to Granger Taylor.
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? Who knows?
Absolutely. But now we're going to look into this a little bit with Granger's background. According to Rob Keller, who was a good friend of his, he had history of drug use, which is apparently common in
Okay, so
people.
what drugs did he use?
According to his sister, he smoked marijuana and taken LSD.
Okay, so you combine his mental problems that he had, that people say he had since he was a young kid. You combine marijuana and LSD with that.
Yep.
You could have some psychosis mixed with some mental problems. Like, did he actually hear aliens, or is that all in his head?
There you go. I mean, obviously LSD you can hallucinate and things like that. So it's a really big mystery, and I do believe it's still not been solved.
Yeah, it's what if he just disappeared and had enough money for him to, maybe he's on another journey.
Who knows? I mean, should we get into theories?
Yeah, let's get into theories.
So the first theory was he'd taken his own life. Now, this is a bit surprising. I feel like the note which he left doesn't seem to be like a suicide note, so I don't think this is actually the answer. What about you?
Bree says aliens are real. I don't think he killed himself. Maybe accidentally because of the storm.
Yeah,
he picked a bad night to go out on his journey. A storm that destroyed everything.
Absolutely, and I think the thing with dynamite is it's so unpredictable. It could literally
now,
go.
Bree's paying attention. So Granger Taylor is, in case you missed it, he is a guy from British Columbia here, Duncan, and he was believed to be on a journey to go see aliens. So it's watch the last 40 minutes.
So the next one is, now we spoke about this briefly, is A New Life. Now you've obviously mentioned this. I think this one is a plausible one. I feel like it's the whole alien thing's kind of like a cover.
Well, you know what? He's running from that horrible name. Change your freaking name already. Stop being Granger.
Yeah, but
what would you name him? What would you name him?
I think Granger's kind of like a second name. Why don't you switch him around?
Taylor Granger, FBI. This is like that's a good PI name. Granger Taylor, private investigator. How you doing,
I bet he will. Are you a good cop or bad cop?
No. You're a good cop. I'm bad cop.
Got it. But yeah, what do you reckon to the theory of a new life?
Don't tell me what to think. Off the.
Oh dear. But yeah, new life.
Yeah. That's possible, but I'm really leaning on he died in an accident.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. If he's got a little bit of mental problems, he's listening to these voices. Now, they might not even be aliens. Could they be demonic influencing him?
Well, you mentioned this before, that obviously aliens can be demonic.
Yeah, so if he got these demonic voices influencing him, they could possibly lead him to his death.
Yeah, that is very, very possible. Like manipulating, so to speak.
So he also had dynamite with him? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so because he used to like destroy tree stumps, he used dynamite for that, and apparently there was dynamite in his truck.
What was he going to use the dynamite for?
That's
the thing. Maybe the alien / demons or psychosis or craziness told him to do this.
Yeah.
So I think it was unintended suicide. We also want to bring up Heaven's Gates cult, because they believed that when you kill yourself, you are going to get transported up to the mothership. So could this be something similar, but with just an individual instead of a cult?
It's possible. I mean, I always think stuff like this is always connected in some way. But
Bree says the mind plays tricks, and you never know how powerful that could be.
That is true. And now I've actually got one more theory on this. I think this is the least plausible one. Apparently, he was kidnapped and killed. This is another theory.
That is something I also considered, because like if he's got this ability to do all this stuff, could we be looking at a case where he's taken somewhere to be a scientist?
That is possible. That is
right, really possible. With our last week's episode.
Yeah, really, really. I've always said things are connected, and I feel like it's a really big mystery. I mean, there's so much about it, but where's Granger Taylor?
So
who knows?
If you have some bone fragments there, you're like, oh, maybe he died. That maybe this is a suicide note, and he disappears. And
yeah. But then again, it's like I said, it was still never proven them bone fragments belong to Granger Taylor. But
yeah, but that's enough to make you, well, probably is, right? That's all you need.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an interesting story, this. I think we've never covered like a disappearance. Just me said body. There we go.
So yeah, I think that wraps it up for this one. Yep. Which brings us to our favorite part of the show,
which is knowledge is power.
You guys got to do that lean in to knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
All right, you want to go first, or should I?
Can I go first? Because I've got a perfect one for this.
Oh, he's ready. He's got it in there.
I've got it short and simple.
Short and simple.
Kids, don't do drugs.
I feel like that needs its own little. Say it again. Kids don't do drugs. So my thoughts on this for knowledge is power. I think get help. If you are struggling with some aliens talking to your brain, get help. If they're telling you to do stuff, get help. And mostly, don't listen to aliens in your brain.
I think that's some good advice.
Knowledge really is power, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think that's some good advice there.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but don't listen to aliens. They don't have your best intentions at heart.
And don't do drugs.
And don't do drugs. And Bree says, don't go to a scientist, though. Especially a mad scientist. So where can everyone find us?
So they can find us at effingwrestling.com. All our social medias on there. You can find me at Effing Magician, or you can find Canada Dry at All Effing Wrestling on Twitter. Did I mention we've got a Pro Wrestling Tee store? Head to prowrestlingtees.com/Effing Wrestling. Buy yourself the lovely Wrestling with the Paranormal shirt. I'm sure we've got some more there at Canada Dry.
Yeah, we got a few. Definitely. And let's get that closing music going. Generic rock music. So thank you guys all for tuning in today. And remember to keep on wrestling with the Paranormal.
And remember, have your cat spayed or neutered. Help control the pet population.
And remember, just keep fighting.